In this video, traders, we're going to look at what is a Robo Advisor. Stay tuned. Hey traders and investors, a warm welcome to you. Okay, so what is a Robo Advisor? It is basically automating the process of an investment advisor that would otherwise be a human being. So traditional method is, hey, I've got some money to invest. You get a meeting with an investment advisor, you go to his offices, comes to your home, comes to your office, whatever. He sits down and he will ask you a set of questions. He'll say, how old are you? How much money have you got to invest? Is it a lump sum? Is it a monthly sum? What's your risk tolerance? What are you looking to achieve? Looking to achieve income, capital protection, capital multiplication, whatever it may be. Okay, and then he comes and says, and he sits there and he strokes his chin and he says, right, I think you should have X% of your portfolio in this, X% in that, X% in the other. And maybe he's representing a fund with many funds underneath it, or an investment company with many funds underneath it, or maybe he's an individual advisor who's saying, I recommend that you allocate specific stocks, bonds, commodities, ETFs, etc. Now, a robo-advisor, pretty much as you would guess with the name Robo, is an automated investment platform that you answer questions and you get a portfolio out. So it automates that whole process. And you can see why. At the end of the day, you know, there's no subjectivity. It's a case of if, for example, young male or young female who has a decent amount of money, doesn't need the money, is quite high risk, is going to be right into the scale because they've got a long time to retirement. They can afford to make back the money that they potentially could lose with high risk. They're prepared to take high risk. They've got money coming in the flow. They're not going to miss the money that they're allocating. They'll go right at the highest end of the spectrum. Other end of the spectrum would be, you know, an older lady or an elder gentleman who is approaching retirement and just wants to preserve. Has got a decent capital pot there to draw on and wants to preserve that. He does not want high risk. He's only got a few years to retirement, or she's got a few years to retirement. And so they're not going to advise anything too super high risk. It's capital preservation and somewhere in between, depending on age and all that kind of stuff. So it makes sense that it's an algorithm that ultimately spits out with reasonable accuracy a portfolio allocation, whether that's going to be in stocks and bonds. Now, some of these are going to be whole of market. Some are going to include bonds, some are going to include commodities, some are just going to include mutual funds. Different types of robo-advisors for different people. But the advantage of, obviously, as you can see, is it's cheaper than traditional methods. You haven't got to pay a guy in a suit to sit opposite a desk and give you the advice. Now, normally the advice is free, but there comes a management fee, a hefty management fee when you're investing in the products, if he's part of a bigger company. Otherwise, you might have to pay him an hourly rate or a daily rate or whatever rate it may be to advise on how to allocate assets in your portfolio. So way cheaper, because obviously there's no human intervention there. No human interaction is a positive. It can be positive or negative, right? It depends on which side of the fence you sit. Positive in the fact that it's just, you know, it's cheap and it's giving you out the correct advice in inverted commas. There's not going to be any mistakes there, but not so good in the fact that you can't really take in. Perhaps he doesn't know. The robo advisor is going to take what you say as gospel, so to speak. He's going to say, okay, well, those are the correct answers. Whereas a human might say, well, you say that you're high risk, but how would you feel if this? And what about this house? And he might pick up on other things that he could talk about and then adjust to suit. So there's pros and cons with it, but you know, that's another video, really, isn't it? What is a robo advisor? Is this one? So some of the 5 that I've done a small bit of research on for you guys. Obviously, go and do some more digging if you're interested in this kind of thing. Got number 1 is one called Betterment. It's got 13.5 billion assets under management. There's no minimum amount you've got to invest, so it's quite good for just getting started. And the fees range between 0.25% and 0.4%, depending on how much you're allocating. So that's an interesting one. Number 2 called Wealthfront, 10 billion assets under management are there for the robo advisors. Less than 5k is completely free. So you're putting under 5 grand, is completely free. Schwab has got one. That is Charles Schwab. You're right. It's called Schwab Intelligent. No fees for this one, and they've got trillions under their big asset management umbrella. But under the robo advisors, they've got 23 billion. So that's pretty decent, and no fees is quite nice as well. So that could be something to check out. Before, we've got one called Personal Capital, and that's a hybrid. They've only got 7.5 billion, I say only, you know, 7.5 billion, pretty decent. It's slightly more expensive because it's a hybrid. In other words, it's part robo-advisor, part human. So I believe you answer the questions, the robo-advisor gives you some advice, and then maybe the human looks over it and adds some interaction with that. So it's slightly more expensive because you've got that human element. And the final one I've got is WiseBanyan, completely free as well. So there's five robo advisors for you to check out if you're interested. There are many more out there, but this is basically what a robo advisor is, the disadvantages of it, the advantages of it obviously being cheaper than a traditional method. Disadvantages, it might not have that human element, but that might be what you want. So if you're considering investing in the stock market, perhaps a robo advisor is something for you to look at. Anyway, whatever you're doing, take care, keep the risk managed, and I shall see you in the next video. Goodbye.